Hi, Sakshi.
Hi. Hi, sir. How
Hi.
are you doing?
I'm
So,
pretty good, Sakshi.
my name is Sakshi Sharma. I belong to Jalandhar. It's basically not particularly Jalandhar. It's a very small town near Jalandhar called Fagwara in Punjab. I recently completed BTech, majoring in electronics and communication, and least expected you would say, but I'm a GRE journalist.
All right, you're definitely a GI alumni, and we're proud alumni, in fact. So
Yeah, I'm
that's the
from
reason you're here
Ahmedabad.
in this seminar. Going to share all your 7 tips that you learned that will help our students who have gathered up today. So, Sakshi, can you please introduce yourself? Can you introduce your score, your college, and your breakdown of your GRE score?
Yeah, I did my BTech from Guru Nanak Dev University, regional campus Jalandhar, not the main campus, the regional campus in Jalandhar. And my GRE score is 317, and if I split it, it's 155 in verbal and 162 in quant.
So let's just go into the business end of things. The one of the very first question that most of our audience I can see are asking is, what was your primary motivation for your MS? So what was that drive you to do your MS right now?
So basically, the first motivation that I had was that, once you graduate out of BTech and, like I do have, when you have a job in hand, the position and the opportunities that you get after BTech are, you don't get to learn a lot. The opportunities that you get are not of the level that you aspire for. Ever since, when I aspired what I want to be, I always wanted to be in the, in the top executive level positions in the corporate setting. So you get to network a lot at that level. So to you to reach up to that position, you have to have a master's degree, especially a management degree. So I knew where I want to be, so that was the path that led me there.
All right, fantastic. It's definitely quite a story. In fact, what do you wish to do after you finish your MS? So what is the next step after your MS?
Basically, the university that I'm going for has a master in science in management studies. So it's a 10-month course. So after that, they have the campus recruiting. I'll be doing the job for 1.5 or 2 years. And then they have a provision that you come back and you complete your MBA. So MS is actually like the first year of the MBA of the Kellogg. So Kellogg is on the number one of all the MBAs right now in the Financial Times, even ahead of Harvard and Stanford right now. So that college is doing well, and it's a dream college for me. So after that, you come back and you complete the MBA. It's the second year of MBA, and then eventually you are a complete MBA after 2 years, the second year of the MBA. And then for now, I believe that I want to be into strategy and consulting. So once I am done with the MBA, I want to join my dream company,
Well, so that your dream company being?
BCG, Boston Consultancy Group.
Wow, fantastic. So you have a perfect dream and a perfect path to go about it. Now let's just start with the tips. All right, what's your very first tip for this for our students today, Sakshi?
The first tip is that I call it the APA thing. That first when I got in touch with the GRE Edge, I was asked to go through a diagnostic test. It was in verbal as well as in quant. So they actually judge where you stand. So when I gave that test, I fared well on the quant side. I got 161 on 170 because I was good in mathematics, and in verbal I got 145. So that is where I got to analyze where I stand, and even my SFAs got to know that where do I stand and what were my problems in all that areas. And analyzing is just not concerned to this level. When you start with the preparations and you start giving sectional tests, like sectional tests like chapter wise test and verbal and quote separately. So once you give the test and then you have to write down. I maintained a notebook in which I used to write this. I gave this test and I got this amount of marks. And when I used to give the next test, I used to write that how did I do in comparison to the last test. Did I do better or did I do worse? So that was where I got to analyze a lot. And eventually then I go to the P part, that is the planning part. And the planning, as far as the planning is concerned, my SFAs helped me a lot. I was given a tailor-made plan for me. The plan, the chapters I was weak in, and the basically the things that I needed to work more on. So I was given a proper plan. Basically the chapters that I used to be very much daunted with, they were given more time. So a plan has to be there, because if you don't have a plan, you don't end up anywhere. And thirdly, that I already mentioned, that time is properly allocated. If you don't have GRE, then you have to do it on your own, and you have hard time planning for yourself. But GRE adds, I would say, like it's a godfather when you are preparing for GRE.
All right, glad to hear that. In fact, Sakshi. So one of the reasons is a lot of online institutions that offer this GRE kind of training. What was the reason that you went for GREH as such?
Firstly, I mean, when you consult a lot of people for your GRE preparations, everybody is going to say that for online coaching, and I mean, you should go for in-person coaching, go to this and XYZ. They say a lot of things like that. But I think when I joined GREH, I think no in-person coaching is going to give you this much attention. I mean, two SFAs are just focusing on you all the time, and they're just a call away. And even if they're busy, they'll call you back. And the personal touch is the one thing. Number two, I think if you just look into the online academies, I don't think anybody in India is doing better than GRES, and I haven't heard of another name in this field apart from GRES. Secondly, like you should be very much clear with your concepts. I mean, before going to, mock tests are important, but just don't focus just on giving the mock test and all that. Analyzing the mocks is equally important. I mean, that is the main thing about the mocks. That is the main catch behind the mocks. Once you give the mocks, you have to sit and analyze that are you going wrong. And if you don't analyze, then you don't improve. So building your strong concepts is one point, and once you know that I'm not doing good on mixtures, I'm not doing good on probability, you should do a sectional test on this, solve more and more questions on that chapter. So it is definitely going to help you a lot. Whenever you give the next mock, it's going to help you a lot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what about the concept? So when you do learning, how was it the learning happening in GREH? So were you given some materials? How did that happen? So quant verbal, how was it?
Yeah, it was I think the best thing that I got. I mean, when I joined GREH, I thought that I'll just be giving, I'll just in the test to solve. But the thing that you have the thing called learning tracker in GREH, and then you have a lot of like chapter wise. You have chapter wise notes, and you can go through them anytime during the phase of your GRE preparation. And apart from this, there's a wonderful concept by GREH called the demo classes, online demo classes, and they helped me a lot as far as the RC part was concerned. It used to scare me a lot, but they are live. That the teachers are live at that point of time, and they solve each and every query of yours, and they are very patient with you. They just keep the question on the screen, and they'll give you time that solve the question, and then you can come to us and you can type your question that where are you going wrong, and we'll solve. I mean, there have been times that they've even stretched the session over an hour, that they don't keep anybody unsatisfied. So the demo classes were a very good part of the GRE thing.
All right. Perfect. So that E-class is the word you're talking about exactly. So all right.
Yeah.
So one more thing, I can see already so many audience getting patient about any tips for RC, any tips for RC. I think I've got 18 questions on the same RC right now. So let's just jump to the reading comprehension part of it. So what are your tips for reading comprehension?
Reading comprehension, I will just say that don't worry about this thing. I mean, the first thing is the anxiety that overpowers you at that point of time. Then the reading comprehension comes in front of you. You are, if you see that it is from economics and you are an engineer, you see that I'm not able to, oh my God, it's from on the American economy, and how am I going to answer this question? And don't think, just take it as just another passage, and don't even let anxiety overpower you. The first tip that I'll give is that you should make a short note side by side. You'll be given a scratch pad on your GRE day and a pencil with you. So try to note down the key points you get. Like if you get first line that Barack Obama is the president of United States of America, just write Barack Obama, BR, and then you write arrow and then P of USA. So that's the shorthand that you have to use there, and write it in the chronological order. So, I mean, I did a lot of mistakes in it. I used to write just in the freehand, and when I used to see at the paper and I was not able to understand what did I write, and don't make that mistake. I'm not able to even understand my handwriting. So, write it in the chronological order and use shorthand, save time. I mean, it should not, take extra time. And with this technique, you'll not even miss one single point. I mean, that is the whole, game about GRE, is GRE tests you here, that how do you analyze what is being written. Because sometimes is that when you don't get the passage, what students do is just go to the question and they think that, okay, they're talking about this thing, they're talking about the mountains. They just start scanning whole the passage in where mountains is written and they just go to that. Don't do it. It's not going to help you unless or until it's just that it was just a bouncer that you didn't get the passage. And the fact that you have to be sure of each and every line. Once you understand, anybody can ask you any question. So I don't think that will be a problem.
All right. So guys, does that clarify most of the tips you're looking for RC comprehensions, reading comprehensions in detail? So Naveen Sai has a question. Naveen says, what are the main points to be remembered while preparing for verbal section? It's pretty tough. He says, can you give some pointers on what to remember?
I think the first point that in India, everybody, mostly engineers, are going for GRE, right? So the first point I'll say this is for the RCs. Focus on the key notes, key points. First of all, you should understand about which the passage is concerned. I mean, if a passage is, opens in front of you, you should know what the author is talking about, number one. Number two, you should take an inference from it. I mean, what do if somebody asks what was the passage about, you should say it in one line. Just treat one passage at a time and treat it as if you're just reading a magazine. Don't think that you're going through an exam. So that is one thing. Secondly, that vocabulary is a very important part. You can't neglect it. And I'll be just going to that is the next step, how to prepare vocabulary. But I started here. In case you don't mind, so should I go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So for vocabulary, I'll say that it's very difficult to mug up all the words, and there are many things that people say that learn this list, this word list, and go for Barron's word, GRE word list, and go for this word list. So it's very difficult. Number one. Number two, there is a wonderful concept called the word bot by GRE Edge, and it's a visual vocabulary, and you don't have to mug up the words. You just have to keep the pictures in mind, and they have wonderful expressions and wonderful mimics, and to actually learn mnemonics and all that. It's a very good thing, and basically you can't neglect vocabulary. Number two. Number three, as far as the text completion and sentence equivalence questions are concerned, there was a technique that I used. The technique was that don't look at the options when you solve the questions. First of all, read the whole sentence and try to put in your own words. I mean, there are two clauses in the sentence equivalence part. Read the first clause and then try to understand what the sentence says and try to put your own easiest word, I mean the simple word that you will try to put in. And then you go to the second clause and try to put another word into it. And then you go to the options, and if you're good at vocabulary, I mean, if you have learned a lot of vocabulary, you'll be easy. I mean, it will be very easy for you to just pick the word and paste it there.
All right. So the visual vocabulary is actually more appealing than going through the list one by one. Right?
That was my rescue to verbal.
All right. So guys, I hope your answers are being conveyed very easily. There's one tool that really helped her master the vocabulary. So is there any examples that you can give right now, Sakshi? I know you have finished your GRE, but is there any examples that you can give right now from the word bot? Some funny word that you remember?
One word is it's called vapid. I mean, it means lazy. Vapid means lazy. So there's a girl who's sleeping in the classroom. So everybody's listening and she's sleeping. So that is vapid. So that was the thing that I always that keeps in mind.
All right. So that kind of funny limericks and humors always help you to remember the word.
Yeah.
On the day of GRE, so what was in your mind? How did you react? What did you do? The D-Day experience. What was it like?
It was very scary. I was completely nervous that day. My exam was in Chandigarh, so we went a day ahead of it, and all through the night I couldn't sleep. I was getting a lot of jitters that tomorrow what passages am I going to get in RCs, and what if I don't get the score, because the result was coming, that once you come out of the room your parents are going to ask you what score did you get. So everybody knows that you have to tell the marks. So it was very nervous. So in the morning, I had a light breakfast, and then my parents drove me to the center. And when I was just waiting outside the test center, because it's one-on-one entry in the test center. If you are in the Pro Matrix center, they test you a lot, and the biometrics and the passport testing is there. And a lot of nervousness goes. You see other faces, and a lot of people are sitting there. Everybody is nervous. And then you get even more nervous watching other people. But that is where you don't look, don't try to see other faces, just focus on yourself. And then after the biometrics, when I went in front of my screen, and it's a 10 to 15 minute span when you have to sit in front of your screen and wait for the test to come up. You see your own photograph in front of the screen and you sit there, and a lot of thoughts come in your mind that time. A lot of them. I mean, what if I don't get the score? It's a costly exam. I spent 13,000 bucks on it, and will I go abroad? That is my dream college. I want the score. So a lot came at that point of time, but that is where I told myself to be in present, because that is going to harper your performance, and you end up at a very low score. So that is a really bad thing. And after that, when my test started, I think that I just appreciate GRE for the fact that they have the essay, those two essays in the starting. So that was an ice breaking thing for me. Other than like any entrance exam, you sit and the question pops up. So you get a lot of anxiety. Chairs are moving and everybody is just scribbling on the paper. So I think the essays were a very good thing. Once I was done with the essays, I was pretty cool with the exam. And the first part was the verbal. When it started, the questions were very tough, and they were, I mean, typical American English. They were very tough. I mean, my verbal was very tough. The day I gave the exam, everybody had the opinion that the verbal was very tough. So I was like, I thought that I'm screwing up each and every question. I thought I'm not going to get a good score, and it was going very bad, question by question. And since it's a section adaptive test, if you screw up the first part, the second section is going to be easier, and you don't get a good opportunity to score high. So but the fact that I mean, maybe the higher powers were with me in case of verbal. I kept myself motivated that I don't have to lose hope and I'll just go on. I'll just give my best. So I kept on, even if I didn't know a question, I didn't let ego come in it. I mean, it happens with most of the students that they can't, get ahead of the question. They think, how come that I'm not going to answer this question? I can't leave this. I'm good at text completion. How come I didn't know this word and all? Don't let ego come in it. If you don't know question, like give it 10 to 15 seconds. If you don't get it, just move on to the next question. That is the most advisable thing. And then when I was done with the verbal, quant was super easy. I mean, since I thought I was good in quant, so that was pretty good. And then you get a 10-minute break. Then you have to go outside. I was pretty sad that I did very bad in verbal. I was sure that the question is going to be easy, but I told myself that whatever happens, I have to be patient, and I have to be confident, and I'll do the best in every question that pops up. So, but even in the end of the exam, I thought that the score is going to be in 40s. I mean, 140s. I was very much sure, and I thought that I have to balance the score with quant. I have to do good on quant. But when this result popped up, the quant was 162, but the verbal was 155. So I was very happy as far as the verbal was concerned, because basically it's a 10 point hike from me. Like the moment I started GRE, that it was 145. So it was a 10-point hike that I got during this period. So I was very much happy. Not in 1 second thought came into my mind that no, it's not a perfect score in quant. I had it in my mind in front of in before the exam. So they are really contented with the verbal score. Yeah.
All right, all right. So 145 to 155, that's quite a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it
All
is.
right, fair enough. So more and more questions coming from the audience, so we'll soon jump to the Q&A session just as promised. Before that, so you've been talking about SFAs all through the preparations, right? So a lot of people told me, can you tell me about what SFAs are, what really SFA is? Can you tell them what are the role of SFAs in your preparations?
SFAs, those who don't know, it's called the Student Felicitator and Analyst. It's a unique concept by GREX where you get two trainers, two personal SFAs who focus on you all the time. And I'll not call them teachers, they are gurus for me. I mean, I didn't get such teachers all through my life, even in the classroom in person coaching. And they're always there with you. They never say that you can't do it. Why are you making the same mistakes again? Like this, you're not going to perform well. I mean, they're never like whenever you're down with your mock test and all that. The first thing that I used to do was call up my SFA, and they were there to lift me up and say that no, we believe in you and you have to do it. So SFAs help you plan your journey. They allocate the proper time. They judge your performance. They analyze your performance properly, and they write a particular analysis for your performance. Like after every test, they give you one or two paragraph of your performance. I mean, in verbal, they give you that you are going wrong here. You have to improve, right? And you do this thing. I mean, my SFAs helped me a lot. That they never told me that focus on one single resource. That is, I have one tip I love to give, that don't focus just on one resource. That is what my SFAs told me. There are a lot of free resources out there on the internet. I mean, one of them is that if you go on Google, you have to search 33 best free mocks to go for GRE. 33 tests, the results open in front of you. It's like they're free of cost. There's one called the Manhattan GRE Prep, and then you have a lot of them. Princeton Review. Princeton, you're not going to access it right now. I don't know they've even removed the link or what. and 33 tests are there. So that's a good opportunity to even test you on different fields. Don't focus on one kind of test patterns that you're getting, and that is the one thing. And even if you're doing, when I was doing horrible on the RCs, my SFS told me to go for a particular platform for it's a simulator. It's free of cost. It's a simulator on internet. It's called the RC Prep. You solve the questions there. The time frame, the countdown just goes there. You have to solve the question in the time frame, and they are equivalent to the GMAT or GRE level. So it helped me a lot. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So guys, I think that pretty much conveys what SFAs are about and how they'll be instrumental in your GRE preparations. So Uday, what was your AWA score like?
My AWA score is 4.5 on 6.
All right, fantastic. So next question and last question before just to jump to the Q&A session very soon is, what was your success mantra? Like, what was your success mantra?
Practice, practice, and practice. I mean, in verbal, I will say, because that was, I thought that, I need a lot of practice in it. And I think I forgot to mention one point. Don't forget to, solve the ETS official guide. Don't forget to solve it. And I solved it just 3 days before, because when I came to know myself, I told me that don't miss it. So I solved that thing. And I remember an instance with my SFA that when I was solving that ETS, because that is the actual the test, that type of questions are you going to you're going to get in the actual exam. I'm sorry, the power went off. Should I go in somewhere else?
I think that will work. Just keep going. I can still see.
No, that's okay. I'll continue like this. So the fact that I solved it, I was getting a lot of questions wrong. So I called up my SFA, Mr. Anirudh. I told him that I'm very much scared. I'm not doing good on these questions and all. So he said that send me across all the questions. So I took that screenshots and I marked on it that where I found the problem and all. And he was on the other end of the phone and we were discussing. It was, I think it was 1.5 hours, and he was just dedicating that time to me. And he told me that go like this and go like that. So that was the thing. And eventually, then last, there are two free tests that ETS gives you. It's called Power Prep test. So that are the real tests. Save it for the last. I mean, one you give it in the last week. I mean, when you have a week in front of your exam, and the second prep test you give it like 2 or 3 days before, because that is the score that you're going to get in your GRE. I mean, in the first test I got 315, and in the second test I got 318. So that was the test. That is the actual score you're going to get, because it is the actual test. Where do you stand?
So thank you so much, guys, for joining. And Sakshi, thank you so much for spending your time. It's been a huge pleasure having you with us. In fact, we're proud to have you as an alumni. And we hope you go on to become the CEO that you always dreamed to be. All right, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much.
All right. For the guys, sure. For the guys who are in the audience, thank you again for joining us. In case if you're interested in contacting us, you have our contact info always, 9888445327. Just call us, WhatsApp us, or mail us at info@greh.com. But if you want to talk to our guest, you can just go to the Facebook page that you posted. Just post your questions, as many questions as you want. We'll be very happy to answer your questions. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Until I see you in the upcoming seminar, this is Vishnu signing off. A very good evening and take care, guys.